There we go. All right. Um, Let me change my voice up real quick. No. Yeah. All right. So they're due the 29th. All right. And this draft, the third draft, is the final draft. Okay. So that means a couple things. One, make sure that draft is a full 4 pages. Okay. I know some of you all had like three pages and some change. All right, $3.75 or whatever. Make sure you get the full four. All right. Why is that? Because it can affect you, when your portfolio is being reviewed. And if your portfolio essays are not a full 4 pages, is that a guarantee that you're going to be held back? No. All right, but it certainly it lessens your chances, if is it, or it puts you at a certain risk that you don't need to be at. All right, so try to make your next draft 4 pages. And if you've exceeded 4 pages, like if you went beyond six, okay, get that thing down to about 5 pages. All right. Part of, I guess one of the skills that you'll pick up as a writer, or one skill that you can continue honing, is just sometimes you just gotta say what you mean. Okay. And get out of there. Or sometimes you have to be the judge of, what details go into your essay. So again, just like we discussed, when we were going from draft one to draft number two, for some, just ask yourself, do I really need this detail? And I think the way you answer that question is to think about, what the main idea you want to communicate to your audience is. What's the main idea of the entire essay? And then, look at each paragraph, right? What's the main idea here? And do I have any distracting material in this paragraph? Meaning, did I start one way and then change directions and lose my reader in the process? And even on some of your drafts, I just posed the question, like, do you really need this? Or, think about whether you need this in your next draft. Or sometimes I even put, your paragraph would be just fine without this sentence or these sentences. Okay, so I think that's one of the elements of your essay that I want you to pay special attention to, just in the paragraphs. Are your paragraphs unified? Okay, who remembers what I mean by paragraph unity? Paragraphs should focus on one idea, even if it's a narrative. Like if you're talking about, how you went to a doctor's appointment. Okay, don't start talking about what you had for dinner, the next day, or the following day. All right. So however you start a paragraph, just remain consistent with that. And there we go, Sharon. Flow of the main message. Absolutely. All right. So yeah, so when you're reading your essay back to yourself, ask yourself, right? Do I really need this? Or another strategy for editing and revision is, again, trying to put yourself in your reader's shoes. Okay. Like you know yourself as a writer, you know what you meant, when you say certain things. But again, we can't assume, that our reader knows what we know. Okay. And that goes for like certain terminology. And that also goes for certain connections we want them to make. All right. So like if we're talking about, a job, that we lost, and then we just skip a bunch of steps, and in the next paragraph we have another job, right? Your reader's wondering, like, well, what happened in the meantime, right? And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. And there's some book material I want to get to today, but in my class yesterday we didn't have a chance to get to it. I just have a list of certain things that I want to cover before we get to the book stuff. And these are issues that we kind of had in common. But one of those is like these how can I put it? The fast forwards. Okay. Like it's 2015 in one paragraph, and then the very next paragraph it begins fast forward to 2020. Your reader's like, what happened? Okay, what happened during that time? And it doesn't have to be some extensive explanation, but that's a pretty big gap. Try and put yourself, try to put yourself. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, that's a great point, Saba. Try to distance yourself from what you're writing. So imagine yourself, reading your paper as if you are not the author. Okay, if you're just one of your classmates, right, and you just pick this paper up, would they be able to understand, you know, what I'm saying here? Do they have the knowledge of the medical field that I have, or do they have the knowledge of military terminology that I have? Okay, odds are the answers to those questions are no. All right. It's the same thing, will they understand, how I talk in my community when I'm in my comfort zone? All right. Sometimes the answer is yes, but often it's no. All right. So we just have to make sure that our reader, is able to understand what we're communicating. And I think that's vital, for us, with the narratives that we're writing, because a lot of you are telling these important stories, okay, about who you are, okay, about what's made you who you are. So, don't fast forward your reader, man. Don't fast forward your reader. Okay. Even if it's, even if you went beyond, or even if you I don't know, just lost my train of thought. It happens. um, Instead of fast forward, hey man, come work at OCC, man. Okay. All right. So instead of fast forward, show your reader what you were doing during that time. And like I was saying, doesn't have to be a full-on paragraph. Okay. And on a lot of you guys' papers, I wrote, you know, practice using transitional phrases. And a transitional phrase is this. This will be the start of a new paragraph. Okay. The very first sentence. So it kind of ties what came before it together with what you're about to say. So maybe this previous paragraph was about, you being unemployed. Okay. Or you being on the job market, right? We've all been there, man. We've all been there. Okay. Remember just being unemployed, and like the only bill I cared about was my phone bill, because I just need to keep my phone on in case somebody called me for a job. Yeah. Yeah, I've been there. Okay. After 3 years of searching for a job with no luck, after 3 years of living in my new house, okay, after X, Y, and Z years of whatever, okay, and it could also, maybe you got somewhere new. This isn't even a real place, but once I arrived, okay, in Newtown, USA. Yeah, thank you, spell check. Okay. So maybe the paragraph before this was about you making that move. But when you begin a new paragraph, you've already made the move, right? But again, all right, just try to connect your ideas, between paragraphs. All right. And it really keeps the flow, of the essay going, using these transitional phrases, to begin new paragraphs, right? Tie up what came before it and introduce what's about to come. Okay. So now, if I'm putting this, and this kind of, brings us back to our discussion of paragraph unity. So if I begin a paragraph in this way, after 3 years of searching for a job with no luck, I finally landed an interview with Oakland Community College, or an interview with whoever. All right. This is what this paragraph is going to be about, and only this. Okay. You're going to stick with that idea. And when you begin discussing a new idea, all right, no, it's not time to talk pay. Okay. Never talk money on an interview. All right. Okay. Now, maybe you discuss the waiting process in the next paragraph, or actually getting the job, or whatever. But what I'm saying is, try to see that there is some connection between your paragraphs. So this is what happens a lot in early drafts, though. Happy. Okay. Now, right, let's say this is one paragraph, right, where you're discussing, the interview, right? But this is your next paragraph. My office was in the corner of a dark hallway, but I was happy to have a job. So you never told your reader like what happened after the interview. You just went from the interview to the job. Okay. And you've already moved into your office, right? So, and another thing I wrote on a few essays is just work on filling in these informational gaps. Okay. Give your readers some more insight, into your experiences. Okay. So paragraph unity, transitional sentences to start new paragraphs go a long way. Okay, go a long way. And this is going to come even more into focus when we start working on our comment essay. Okay, just the flow of each paragraph into the next, because our next essay, we're going to be making points about the book, and it just pays to have some connection, between those paragraphs. Okay, so paragraph unity, one idea per paragraph. When you transition, or when you start discussing a new phase of your narrative, even if you're discussing a doctor's appointment, and it's, the next paragraph can begin, when I finally got home from my appointment. I'm sorry, there's a turkey in my backyard, man. That's interesting. Okay. But the next paragraph could begin, when I finally got home from my appointment. Okay. You don't have to jam all of that into one paragraph. So, just as a rule, start a new paragraph when you begin discussing a new aspect of your narrative, or when you want to give your reader a moment to pause and reflect. Think about having a conversation, and the person you're conversing with, they're just going, right? They're just going nonstop. Okay. And you're interested in what they're saying, but you just want to have a second to process. Okay. So think about your reader, on the other end of this paper. They're reading this giant paragraph where you're just like laying all this information on them. Again, vital information, good information, important information, information that they want to hear, but give them a minute. Okay. Give them a minute to process what you just told them, especially if you just laid something heavy on them. Okay. So, back to our discussion a few weeks ago, don't, get caught up in the trap of, my paragraph should be 5 sentences, 7 sentences, or, whatever number of sentences you learned, back in the day. But there's also, the risk of a paragraph being too long. And a paragraph that's too long discusses multiple ideas, or it's a paragraph that really doesn't give your reader a chance to reflect. Okay, so think about that. And on some of your essays, I even broke it down like, think about starting a new paragraph here. And I say think about it because I want you to make that decision. Maybe you want to start a new paragraph somewhere else, but if I asked you, consider starting a new paragraph here, you don't have to start a new paragraph there. But really what I'm saying is you got a lot going on here. Break this paragraph down some. Okay, break it down. All right. And really it's about, giving your reader those moments to process, or you don't want to change direction too quickly or too abruptly, in the same paragraph. Okay. That wasn't like everything I wanted to say, but it's what needed to be said. Okay. I wish you guys could see these turkeys, man. There's some babies back there and everything. Must be like birthing season because I think there's a pregnant deer or something. Okay. Now. Okay. Yeah. No, man. Josh, man, come on. Animals are our friends, man. Animals are our friends, man. Man, Josh. Okay. No, man, I'm not gonna get a turkey. I don't see many in November though. Maybe that means something. All right. Now, all right. Did somebody draw on my screen? All right. I don't know what that green mark is. Okay. Now, if you look in the week 7 module, or look on with me in the week 7 module as I'm screen sharing. I don't know what this green slash on my screen is. Man. All right. But there are a few things in here. This week 7 overview is invisible to you guys, so you probably can't see it, or I know you can't see it, or I just have it hidden from students. All right, but oh yeah, okay. This is all material that I want you to review as you're editing. We're gonna go over some of this stuff in a second, or really between today and Thursday. We're actually going to cover all of this material, but you can start looking at these two. In some of your drafts, I put, just watch for awkwardly constructed sentences. The best way you can catch those, read your paper out loud. Okay, read your paper out loud. And in English, there we have like syntax, and syntax just means it's syntax. It just means like the order of your words. All right. And sometimes that can make sometimes the order of your words can make an awkwardly constructed sentence. And sometimes when we're reading it back to ourselves and we say that out loud, it'll just hit our ears wrong. All right. When I was a younger student, like 2 years ago. No, when I was a younger student, I didn't really know much about what to call the mistakes I was making, like run-ons, fragments. But I could look at something and say, this doesn't look right. All right. And then I would have a meeting with the teacher about, like, I know this doesn't look right, but I need some coaching. All right. So sometimes or I know this doesn't sound right, but I need some coaching. So sometimes just reading something out loud will you know what, that doesn't let me figure out a different way to say this. All right. Let me figure out a different way to communicate this same message. Okay. So try reading your papers out loud. Okay. I just had another thought. This is sort of unrelated, but it's not. Um, Look, man, we're all adults here. I'm certainly far, 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 like very far from being a prudish individual. All right. But in your papers, okay, I know everybody's keeping it real and everything like that, but show your reader, a better way to express yourself than like cursing. Okay. I don't have anything against cursing. I do a lot of it in my daily life. Okay. Okay. One might even say that I'm an expert cursor. Okay. All right. All right. But when it comes to your academic writing, show your reader that you know a better way to express yourself. Okay. The English language, okay, can be beautiful. All right. Most languages are beautiful. Okay. English language is no exception. So we have many words to choose from. Okay. Show your reader you know some of them. Okay. And I get it. Sometimes you just want to say things for effect. All right. But challenge yourself, to find another way to create the same effect. Okay. So that was neither here nor there, but it kind of that was one of the things that was on my list of just stuff to get out of the way before we got to the book stuff. Oh, okay. Oh, it really doesn't have much to do with writing. I mean, it does, but at this point in the semester, formatting shouldn't be an issue. Okay. One, there's this material MLA documentation resources that you can go in, and see how to format your papers. But at this point, right, MLA formatting, and that includes double spacing, that includes being in the right font, the right size font, all right, setting your margins right. Let's make sure that we are getting that, at this point in the semester, because the reality of it is most, if not all of you are going to be in English 1510 next semester, or whenever you decide to take it. But my advice to you as an English teacher, try to take English 1510 right after you take this class. And if you have to take 1520, take it right after you take 1510. Why? Because you're still in that reading writing mindset. All right. And then all this stuff be fresh still come the fall. All right. Um, but yeah, try to knock that out of the way. But what I'm saying is when you get to 1510, depending on your teacher, some teachers will give you some coaching, in MLA formatting, but some of your teachers are going to expect you to come in knowing that stuff. All right. And I don't mean like citation. I just mean like the basics of, setting up a paper. Okay. So make sure, okay, you're formatting your papers properly. And I read over you guys' self-assessments. Okay, some of you put yes when I asked, like, did you check your paper to see if it's properly formatted? Some of you put yes, but the paper wasn't properly formatted. Okay, and yes, I did. I do read the self-assessments. Okay, so for your next draft, make sure that it's properly formatted. Okay, I do, man. I teach all of them. Okay, Jamie, Jamie, I teach all of them, man. Use 1510, 1520, 1060, 1055, 2570. So if you want to, you'll see me again. All right. You'll see me again, man. In person. Right. That ought to be scary. No. In person, man. I miss being on my feet, man, in the classroom. Like I'm one of those teachers that never sits down. I'm always moving around and stuff. Okay. Like this is weird for me, like teaching through a screen. All right. Now, okay, formatting. Okay. Make sure you knock that out of the park. All right. Oh, okay. Here we go. Yeah. No, man. Actually, in the fall, I'm taking a break from teaching online. I need to be in person, like physically, face to face. Okay, doing stuff, moving around, meeting with my students one on one. Okay, all the stuff that I like. Okay, want to see my students come into office hours. All right, even though I lost the keys to my office, and I'm blaming the pandemic for everything. Okay, now Yeah, blaming COVID for everything, man. Lost like 2 sets of keys. They be mad at me. All right. Now, okay. So these are just websites that you can go to, and these are just quick and to the point. Okay. Quick and to the point. There's even some attempts at humor, all right, in these things. Okay. Just be warned, it's like English humor, so it's probably not that funny. All right. This is another same deal. This one, yeah, okay. We're actually this week. I know we've all been waiting for it, but we're actually going to start using Inquisitive more. Okay. Okay. All right. So here we have a comma splice. Okay. And again, folks, the feedback key is the same as draft number 1. So if you see this on your paper, all right, that means you have a comma splice or a run-on. All right. And a comma splice, 2 complete sentences separated by a comma. A run-on, 2 or more complete sentences, separated with no punctuation. Like this will be a run-on, right? Because again, I have 2 complete sentences here, or if we want to get fancy with it, right? 2 independent clauses. And again, an independent clause, just a phrase, that can stand by itself and make sense as a sentence. Yes. Okay. This cool, Robin, or bigger? Damn. Okay. Cool. 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 Okay. So my mother has always been there for me. She taught me how to love myself. Okay. Right now, this is a run on. That makes it a comma splice. Okay. And just to review, folks, like I just said, comma splice, putting 2 complete sentences together with a comma, or 2 or more complete sentences. Okay. This really doesn't make any sense where I have it, but just rolling with it as an example. Now, okay, actually, let me get rid of this part. All right. So, a couple ways to fix comma splice. There we go. A couple ways to fix comma splice. One, coordinating conjunction. We can keep the comma if we love commas so much. Okay. She told me to love myself. Okay. Or, we can get rid of the comma. We just go, no, let's go and, because it didn't make any sense. Okay. And she told me to love myself. Okay. Comma, coordinating conjunction. All right. And if you need, coordinating conjunctions, right? All right. Fanboys, right? I don't know if people still say fanboys anymore, but There it is, man. The acronym still holds. Okay, so these are your coordinated conjunctions, and make sure you're using the right tool, for the job. Meaning, make sure you're using one that fits. Okay, like but really, and is the only one that would fit in here. Okay, so that's one way. All right, another way to fix coordinated conjunctions, to fix comma splice, separation. Okay, take out the comma, swap it out for a period. Okay, moving right along. Third way, semicolon. Okay, or get funky with it and just you can change the sentence. Okay, nothing is set in stone, until you submit it. All right, and even then, it's not really set in stone. Okay, so if on your paper, I have, watch for comma splice. Okay, click on this, and then back in I think weeks 3 or 4, there's some good material about sentences, and that's really what our inquisitive practice is going to be about this week, comma splice, because I see that's a recurring issue in a lot of papers, which is fine. All right, fragments. We're doing well, with avoiding fragments, but we still need a little bit of guidance with comma splice. So if you click on this link in the week 7 module, comma splice, learn how to avoid it, takes you right to Grammarly. All right, again, which is pretty reliable. All right, I mean, if you got grammar in your name, okay. All right, and then Grammarly gives you 3 ways to fix comma splice. Okay, definition, bam, here we go. Koala bears are not actually bears. So why are you calling koala bears? Koala bears are not actually bears, comma, they are marsupials. Again, you just have 2 independent clauses here. All right, meaning each one of these could stand by itself and make sense because they express a complete thought. All right, how do we fix it? Okay, conjunction. Oh man, it's all bad when somebody says this to you. I am not angry with you, but I'm not happy with you either. Okay. Yeah, somebody says that to you, it's all bad. Okay. It's even worse if they say, I'm not angry with you, and I'm disappointed in you. It's over. It's over, man. Okay. But here we go. Comma, coordinating conjunction. Conjunctions are like they're like the glue that can hold our sentences together. All right. Same with transitions. They now transitions are more like oil because they help us go from point to point, smoothly. All right. Change the comma to a semicolon. Change the comma to a semicolon. This is a funny thing about the English language. This is a comma splice. Totally incorrect. But if I put a dot on top of this comma, it magically becomes okay. Right? Arbitrary language. Okay. But a semicolon is a fix for a comma splice. But something I've been communicating to you all is don't abuse the semicolon because you don't want a paragraph that's comprised of mostly like these choppy sentences, or these choppy independent clauses. Even though you are separating with a semicolon, and that's technically correct, we also got to keep like flow in mind. So you don't want to have a string of these short and choppy sentences. And then separation, is always a good way to fix comma splice. I'm not angry with you. I'm not happy with you either. Okay. So comma splice. Okay. I forgot to take the trash out last night. One independent clause. My can stinks really bad now. Another independent clause. Okay. We can coordinate and conjunction it. My can stinks really bad now. Okay. We can semicolon it. Okay. We can separate it. Okay. So on your papers, if you see this, okay, use one of these strategies to fix it. And the challenge for you is I did not highlight all of the comma splices and run-ons because I want you all to start recognizing them. That's the first step to correcting them is just recognizing. And I was very happy to see on some of your self-assessments, some of you put like I need to work on run-ons, or I need to work on this, or I need to work on that. I was very impressed by that because part of one of the goals of this class is just to start recognizing what you need to work on, and then start taking those steps. But like I was saying, just recognizing that stuff is that's a pretty tremendous step. Okay, very good. All right. So comma splice. Oh no, how much time? Got a little bit of time left. All right. Let me see what I can hit on quickly. Oh, um, here we go. Here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Points of view. Let me extract out. Points of view. All right. Oh, this is a quick thing. 0 to 9, spell it out. When you get to double digits, write the number. Okay. But if this was yeah, Tuesday. Tuesday 29th. Tuesday, we'll still be in June, right? Next week. Okay. Now, points of view, right? First person point of view, perfectly acceptable for this essay. I, me, we, us, our. Yes. Okay. I, me, we, us, our, my. These are perfectly fine for this essay. But keep in mind that in most academic writing, first person point of view is not cool. But it depends on your teacher because in 1510, even some assignments in 1520, I do allow first person point of view, but Always check with your teacher if you're unsure about that, because traditionally first person point of view in academic writing is avoided unless it's a narrative like you guys are working on now. Okay. Second person point of view, you are typically avoided in academic writing. Listen to this. Listen to these sentences. When I was 16, I broke my wrist and I had to go to the hospital. There are many patients there, so you had to wait a long time to see a doctor. Right now, your reader's thinking, I wasn't in the doctor's office with you. That's what happens when you say you in academic writing. Okay, you're saying your reader is sharing this experience with you, or maybe you're pointing the finger, at them. Okay, your reader's thinking, I'm always on time. What you telling me for? Okay, better yet. Okay, you should always be on time for class. This semester we had 3 papers doing English 1510. You were graded on organization, content, and mechanics. Okay, so second person point of view is no bueno, right? No good, no good, no good, unless. Yeah, man, it's me and my brother. Okay, if it's in quotation marks, it's fine. Also, folks, if you have dialogue in your essay, which is fine, but make sure you're using quotation marks for dialogue. Like first, I told him blah 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 blah, and then he replied, put it in quotation marks. Now, okay, so this is okay. All right, so we'll get rid of that example, right? But for the most part, second person point of view is avoided in academic writing. Why, Professor Norwood? One, it points the finger at your reader. Okay, but if we look at this document, get the you out of here. Okay, bam, causes confusion. Your reader's like, wait, you were just talking about yourself, or just you were just using the first person point of view. Now, why did you switch to second person point of view? Address the reader. Definitely, we don't want to do that. It's inaccurate. Definitely shifts person. And when it was taught to me way back in the day, it was just taught as too informal. All right, how do we fix this? Okay, one, there's this thing. I'm actually going to upload this. It's on my computer. This is a PDF that says all of this. All right, but how do we fix this, Professor Norwood? Okay, easy fix is we can just be consistent, especially with the essay we're working on now. We got a free for all to use first person. Okay. Um. An, Another way we can fix it. Sometimes when we say you, we're actually referring to a specific group, but in our way of speaking, we kind of use you as this general, or this stand-in that just means a general group of people. But a lot of times in writing, we're referring to a specific group. So sometimes when we have second person point of view, we can think, well, who do I mean when I say you? It's, right? So first person or a specific group, or you can go back to first person. Okay. Okay. Sometimes you can get rid of you completely. Just put an article in here. Oops. Right. Okay, there we go. The body will have a negative reaction to too much sugar. Okay. So here's what I'm saying. In your next draft, and I know for some of us, this could be our first time hearing it, and that's cool. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to start trying to adjust when you have second person point of view. Okay. Maybe you catch them all, in your draft, maybe you don't. But start trying to practice. And if you want to go through and catch, all of your second person points of view in Microsoft Word, you just want to go up here to find. Okay. Just put in the navigation pane, and it'll do the work for you. Okay. You're going to have to change them yourself, obviously, but find is a good way of searching your paper for things. Also, if there's a phrase that you find yourself using a lot, go through your paper and do a find, because you may have to switch it up a little bit just to keep your reader engaged. All right. A fast way to lose your reader is redundancy, meaning you keep using the same phrases over and over. Okay. So start trying, to catch instances of second person point of view. Okay. Just a couple quick things. Man. Okay. Stuff like this. Well, let me tell you what happened next. You will never believe what happened when my father got home. You guessed it. We had a boy. Anyway, and then you go on with your next point. These phrases or similar ones, we don't want to have things like that in our essay, because it makes our essays excuse me, too conversational. All right. And we are telling stories here, but we also have to keep in mind that these are still essays. All right. It's not like you're conversing, with a reader. So where you say, guess what happened? Okay. In a conversation, the person's gonna say, what? What happened? But your reader, they're just like, just tell me. Okay, just tell me what happened. All right. So things like this, let me tell you what happened next, or man, you'll never guess what happened next, or you'll never believe what happened next, or yeah. Anyway, definitely not anyway. Okay. You don't want to have stuff like that, in your essay. Okay. I don't, narratives shouldn't be too formal. And really, to me, academic writing doesn't even have to be too formal. Like I always encourage students, definitely incorporate, elements of who you are into your writing. Like I like reading papers and I say like, hey, this couldn't have come from anyone except you. All right. That's cool. You can always be yourself in writing, but at the same time, there's certain what am I trying to say? There's certain standards we have to adhere to. And one of those being try not to write in a conversational tone. Okay. Do your best. That's all I ask of anybody. Do your best, and with practice, we'll get where we need to be. Anything else I can hit quick? Oh yeah, make sure your final draft has a title. Don't call your title. I mean, don't call your paper. What has adversity meant to you, or something like that? What does adversity mean to you? Because that's the writing prompt. Also, don't call your paper my life. Okay, Mary J. Blige took that one a few years ago. All right. Everybody calls their paper my life, man. It's like how many of these am I going to get? Okay. But really, and here's the truth about titles. Your title is your first attention grabber, right? You start off an essay with an attention grabber like your first line, but really your title is your first attention grabber. Okay. So try to, you don't have to like spend hours and hours and hours, thinking of the most clever title, but a play on words, something. Okay. Definitely don't call it instructor chosen essay though. That one's already been taken. Okay. Don't call it draft number 3. Don't call it final draft. Don't call it any of that stuff. Think of a title. Your title, just like the rest of your essay, can go through revision as well. Okay. Your title can go through revision as well. And here's the final thing for tonight. Okay, there's some stuff, some book material I want to cover Thursday, but I'm trying not to talk at you for more than an hour at a time. Make sure you do your revisions on your original draft, meaning the one with my comments, the one with my feedback. Don't just go back over that one and turn it back in with my comments and my highlights and all that still on there. Okay. Make your revisions on your original copy. Okay. Everyone had, you all have an original copy. Even if it's not on your computer, it's still in your assignment folder. There's one with my feedback, and then there's the one you submitted. Do your revisions on that one, on the one without my feedback on there. All right. There's more to come, but like I said, I know I've been talking a lot, so I'll let you guys get to it. Okay. And if we're being totally honest, I just want to go outside and look at the turkey some more. No, they'll be back. Okay.